in relation that if the government would consider a mass vaccination centre in the Central Coast, yes, the Premier said that is something that we would consider going forward. But if you're on the Central Coast, are you able to travel to Belmont? The answer is yes.
That wasn't my original question. I was asking Adam Crouch, your colleague, our parliamentary secretary, has set our hub the capability of Gosford Hospital. They can do over 8,000 jabs a week there, but they just don't have the supply. Talking to the federal government, the state government needs to allocate that to the Central Coast. That is what I'm asking. How do we, as a region, get the vaccinations we require?
So firstly, vaccines are rolled out across the state in a programmed way, and to give everyone an opportunity that everybody in every region increases its vaccine percentages on an equal basis. So there's no disadvantage, and that has always been the approach. Where we've then had issues like in the western part of New South Wales, what we then do is refocus some of those resources, any additional resources, so that we deal with what is an emerging crisis. So that has to be at the heart of everything we do. So if in the Central Coast, and I know there was no cases today, but I did flag in the press conference, there is already a case that's been reported since 8 p.m. last night for the Central Coast. Again, it's one case. So what we need to have a look at is where is the priorities. We still have limited supply of Pfizer, but not limited supply of AstraZeneca. Again, we can roll out more AZ, but again, that's a mix of people wanting AZ or not, and that's where the pressure comes on Pfizer. The Pfizer that we have will get us through from first doses over the next few weeks, and as I said earlier, September, October is when the federal supply of Pfizer, the order that they put in place, the 20 million jabs, ramps up completely. So really, in the next 2 to 4 weeks, you'll see a significant change in the opportunity even for Pfizer, let alone AstraZeneca. But right now, people can get AstraZeneca, is that people aren't choosing to get AstraZeneca, and that's a problem for us because of a narrative issue previously through that. But again, I'm more than happy to put to health the question mark about what the demand looks like on the Central Coast and what the vaccine availability looks like and what is the delay times on the booking system for people, and give you that information. I'm happy to do that in other areas as well.
Thank you very much. That is what we've been seeking, and the community's been calling us nearly every day about. Lastly, you have touched on it. You touched on the iron ring and the new permit system. These are questions I sort of got a bit rambled in, but when is the Central Coast going to be treated as a region as it normally is? And what's our chances of us being released? Obviously, you said it's a number of factors that go into making that decision, but considering we're sandwiched in between Newcastle and Sydney, which have a lot higher cases than what we do.
Yeah, so the first thing is that the Central Coast has always been treated as regional. I know, as I said before, some of my funding grants and in my agencies are include the Central Coast, but the reason the Central Coast was dragged into the Sydney or Greater Sydney, just like Illawarra, Blue Mountains, was its interconnectivity with Sydney at the time. We know the movement of people from the Central Coast into Sydney from work, etc. So that became the problem, because remember with Delta, it's about mobility of people that we've got to refrain and stop. So that's why it was classified as Greater Metro. And I'm not sure if you heard earlier, before this recent outbreak and these recent cases, we were looking at Central Coast and Shell Harbour and saying, do we bring them out of the metro classification into the regional classification in relation to COVID? And we were considering that until these recent cases. And the only way we'll get out is having zero community transmission. So that'll be one of the criteria. And right now, so it's regardless if you're in Greater Metro or not anymore, it's about how many cases. And if those cases now, that you're down to one, and it's been one every second day at the moment, which is good news in a way, but we need to get to zero. That'll play into, do we bring you out and then align you to whatever the regional restriction footprint will look like. They're the decision we'll work through.